If you're a designer of any kind, whether that's a web designer, UX, UI, you have to watch this video because there is a major problem with how our salaries as designers are determined. And if you're not aware of these problems, you're probably going to get taken advantage of. So in this video, I'm going to break down the numbers, show you these big problems with how we're paid, and then hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to have everything that you need to drastically increase how much you're earning as a designer. So let's get into it. So as I dove into my research for this video, the first troubling thing that I found is salary trends for all types of designers are pretty much the same over the past 10 years, which is alarming because the value attached to design can be drastically different, and the different types of design and design jobs can be drastically different as well. For example, designing a poster for a local event that's going to get seen by 100 people is way different and way smaller scale than designing an app that's going to get used by millions of people. And so the fact that these trends are the same over the past 10 years is a little bit alarming. So I wanted to learn more about these trends. And so what I did is I broke down the average salaries of the most common design jobs from 2010 to 2020. The first one that I broke down was that of a graphic designer. Back in 2010, the average salary was $48,000. And in 2020, that had risen to $53,000, which is a 10.4% increase in salary. When looking at the numbers of a UI designer, back in 2010, the average salary was $61,000, and in 2020, that had risen to $80,000, which is a 31% increase. So pretty good, right? For a UX designer in 2010, it was $66,000, and in 2020, that bumped up to $91,000, which is a massive increase of 37.8%, okay? So a huge increase for UI and UX designers. And then finally, the average salary for a web designer back in 2010 was $50,000, and over a 10-year span, that increased to $59,000. So an 18% increase. Now, when looking at all these numbers together, they don't look too bad, right? Basically, what we're seeing here is that every year you're getting paid more and more as a designer. That is until you consider inflation. Now, of course, inflation is going to be different depending on where you live, but I think the problem is going to be the same regardless of where you are. Where I'm from, the average inflation is 28.75%. So when we include that inflation percentage in our final numbers, you're going to see that we are not getting paid enough year over year. So as I'm editing this video, I'm realizing that I did not do a good enough job at expressing just how far we are behind in terms of salary increase year over year. So what I've done is I've taken these salary increases and thrown them into a graph, and then I have given you a line here that represents the national average of salary increase across all jobs. So all jobs in the US, this is the average increase. And you can see that with the exception of UX designer, all of these other design careers are falling behind the national average, which is crazy to me because these are jobs of the future. These are tech jobs. These are jobs that are becoming increasingly more important as the years go on, yet we are getting paid less and less. Now, this is even more discouraging when I compare them to other similar jobs like marketing manager, where you can see that the average marketing manager salary over that 10-year span is drastically larger, nearly 60%. And so we are way behind these other similar jobs. And just for kicks and giggles, I threw in the average salary increase for truck drivers in the United States, and we're barely hanging with their salary increase. So it is true that we are not getting paid enough, and we are falling far behind the national average. Now, when looking at these numbers, there are four massive issues that I can see. The first is over time as designers, we are expected to do more and more and more while not getting paid any additional for these extra skills. So when we take on a project, a lot of times not only are we designing, but we are responsible for developing and understanding SEO and helping with content and playing the role of a marketing manager and managing the project. All of these skills are things that, typically speaking, are a full-time job for someone else with a very full-time salary attached. Yet we are doing so much of this work while still getting paid the measly salary of a regular designer. And so this is massively troubling for me. The second huge problem that I'm seeing is over the last 10 years, the technology that we can use for design has changed drastically. And the fact that we are not reaping any benefits from that is really sad, because when we run a project with the tools at our disposal, we can do it faster, better. It's going to perform at a higher level. All of these things benefit our client or our employer, but we are not being compensated for learning these tools and being able to utilize them to benefit the project. And not only that, but a lot of times we're expected to pay out of pocket for these programs and softwares. And so it's really, really concerning to me that these basically don't benefit us at all. Even though we're more efficient, we're not getting paid more for that efficiency. The third major issue that I see is that our industry as designers, digital designers, is growing so rapidly that it is getting crazy competitive. And the sad thing is, even though the demand is rising, instead of our average salary and our average value rising, we're competing with one another on price. So now, instead of somebody coming to me as a designer wanting to hire me for my value, they're going to Fiverr or Upwork and finding the cheapest solutions. So as this becomes a more competitive industry, we can't keep undercutting each other on price. Instead, we should be elevating the bar, elevating the expectations, and helping one another all get paid more collectively. Now, in this article that I found, they anticipate that between the years of 2017 and 2050, the web design industry is going to grow from 1 million professionals to 100 million professionals. So this is a ridiculous increase that is necessary to keep up with the demand of our expertise. However, if we keep undercutting one another on price, none of us are going to excel, none of us are going to progress, and we're never going to earn any more. And so we need to make sure that we're looking out for one another. And the fourth massive issue that I see with this is the value behind our design is increasing more and more every year. For me as a web designer back in 2010, I was important, right? But not everybody was even using a website. Businesses weren't very dependent on it. But now in 2022, if you don't have a website, your business is dead in the water. And so they need us. These businesses need us as web designers, UX, UI, graphic designers. They absolutely need us to survive online. And the fact that we're not getting paid anymore, even though we are so essential, is really, really sad. All right, so now that we've talked about all these negatives, I want to talk to you about 4 things that you must do right now as a web designer to fix these issues and to start getting paid more and getting valued more for your skill set. The first thing you need to do is understand the value that you provide. Understand how important you are to your clients or your employers, and then you need to learn how to verbalize that value and help them see just how important you are. The second thing that I would recommend is start utilizing your skills to build your own business on the side. You don't only have to use your skills to build someone else's business. You might as well start your own thing because you have all of the skills necessary to grow a successful online business. You know how to design, you know how to build a website, you know how to market, you know how to develop apps, you know all of these different things that other people don't have at their disposal. So you might as well use it to benefit yourself. The third thing you need to do is stop trying to land clients by lowering your prices. This is the worst way to compete for work because at the end of the day, it's just a race to the bottom and everybody loses. So rather than continually lowering your prices, why don't you continue to hire the value that you provide and help people see that value? This is going to by far benefit you the most in the long term, as well as all of us collectively as designers. And finally, it's going to be really essential for you to connect with other web designers and stop working alone. Build a community of other people that understand what you're going through and that can help one another to elevate their vision, get paid more, bring more value, learn additional skills, and at the end of the day, we're all going to win together. Now, the last thing that I'll say is being a web designer can be really lonely, especially if you work remote. Now, it's for this reason that we built our platform called Pate Pro. This is a private community and training platform where you get to connect with other web designers like you. You get access to all of our resources, whether that's proposals, contract templates, everything that you need. You also get an awesome training from an industry expert every single month. And of course, you can ask questions, you can join us for office hours, and get all of the help you need to accelerate your career as a designer. So if you're interested, go ahead and click the link down in the description or go to paintpro.com to see if it's a good fit for you, and I hope to see you inside. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.